with Tracy in LA.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Dance Journey. Today we are here with Julianna Bravo.
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
She goes by Bravo, so we're going to refer to her as that the rest of the time.
Period.
But this is exciting because I feel like I see you all the time. We met, I don't know, it was maybe about a year ago or less than a year. Was it like 6 months ago? I can't remember what Unbound season it was, but we met at, not through Unbound, the show, but we met at an Unbound class.
Yes.
And I don't remember if it was from last season or 2 seasons ago.
I want to say maybe it was this last season because
Okay.
I just got back to LA about July of 2025. So what is that,
okay.
like 7 months ago?
Oh.
I am from LA, but I moved away for college, came back, and then went on tour, did some COVID safety manager stuff for a Broadway show. That was really cool.
Oh.
Did that for about 2 years, and
In New York?
I spent like a week there. That was really fun, really busy, but that was really fun. But no, I actually got to tour, I think I counted around like 37 cities, but started in Atlanta and then went from Atlanta to Jacksonville to Philly to upstate New York to Ohio to Michigan and so on and so on and so forth.
Wow, with this show?
With the show.
Doing the COVID management?
I was an assistant COVID safety manager, so that was really cool.
Wow.
And Oklahoma was the last city that I ended up in. Went home for about 3 months and ended up making some pretty cool connections out
Wait,
there in
where's
Oklahoma. Home is Downey, California.
Oh, okay.
So I'm from here.
Okay.
Born and raised.
Okay. So we met through an Unbound. So Unbound, LA Unbound, they do 2 shows a year for adults. I talk about it on here all the time. It's always a bunch of different dance pieces and different choreographers submit. But they do some really nicely priced, as in inexpensive, classes the week or 2 before they do the auditions every season. And so I met Bravo at one of those classes last season. And then since then, I literally feel like I see you all the time. I'm like, oh, there's Bravo again. Like, because I take a bunch of different classes and you obviously also take a bunch of different classes. And I'm like, oh, wait, there's Bravo again. And I feel like you're always kind of like subtle. I feel like, you have your hat or like, it usually takes me a second to be like, oh, wait, that's Bravo again.
I try to be discreet.
But you are totally all over the city taking like a bunch of classes. We'll talk about like your journey in a second. But so that's kind of how we met and see each other randomly. And then, of course, just following on Instagram. And okay, I wasn't going to bring this up right away, but what else is funny is I noticed that Bravo posted that she was on Let's Make a Deal
Yes.
this past year. And when I saw her post, I was like, oh, I need to post mine because I was also on it, but I was procrastinating on making a post out of it and everything. So when you did yours, I was like, it inspired me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to find mine again. And I think I even had to pay a little bit to like watch it on Paramount or something because I waited too long. Because initially I could just watch it. And then I kind of copied you and did my own. But did you love that experience? How was that for you? Was that your first time on a game show?
That was my first time on a game show. It was. I will say that wasn't my first time in front of a camera. I've worked with the NBA right now as part of their hype squad for LA Clippers, but I've also worked with the Thunder in Oklahoma City. So I have some camera training. So when I went to go on Let's Make a Deal, I actually did it in April when I was still in Oklahoma, part of the Thunder.
Oh.
I was blessed to have the financial means and the liberty to, with my job, to actually fly back and forth. And my manager was pretty cool with allowing me to, as long as I didn't miss any games, I was able to come, and rehearsals, I was able to come back and forth. So I emailed the how would you say, the manager or the
producer or something?
Yeah, the producer. And because he told me a while ago that they wanted me to come and audition for it, and I told them that
But
I
how
was
did
out
you
of town.
even like talk to him initially?
I found it, I want to say, off of a casting website.
Okay.
So I put in my headshots and resume and everything, and I got the email. But I couldn't make it because I was still in Oklahoma City, and just luckily they were pretty cool. I will say communication is key. If you are pretty honest with the producer, or it might not happen all the time, but honestly, he was pretty cool with just me being with the NBA and out of town. He said, all right, just let me know when you're back in town and
Nice.
I will throw you back in the bid. And I said, okay, cool. So luckily I was in LA for about 72 hours and told him.
Wow.
And he was like, all right, can you be in LA and tomorrow? And mind you, it was 8 p.m. that Friday night, and they wanted me on set at, like, what is it, 7 in the morning
It's
that
early,
Saturday.
yeah.
It was really early. It's a pretty early gig. So I was like, man, all right, well, might as well. Why not? Like, I always say, if you enjoy what you do, always take the opportunity while it's handed to you as well.
Yeah.
So luckily I enjoy doing stuff like this. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So the only costume that came to mind was a pirate. So I dressed up as a pirate.
I know. I liked how you had the patch like a little bit above your eye. Like it still had the right idea, but it was so you could see when you were like playing the game. I was like, that was smart. Yeah.
I did not want a video of me with just one eye. I literally was so...
You're like, I don't want to try to play this game like this. That was like me because I kind of didn't want to wear my glasses, but then I was like, I don't know what kind of game they're going to choose me for, and would I have to read something? I don't want to do bad in the game because I actually am mostly here to try to win money. Like I didn't care as much about being on TV. I wanted to win money, but then I didn't win money, but then I did get to be on TV, so I guess that was cool. But it's interesting that you say about having camera experience because I haven't, besides like being on camera in a dance class, I haven't done that type of camera work in a long time. I mean, I used to do acting a long time ago, but that was a new experience for me to be up there and like, I felt like there was 3 really big cameras closer to my face than I expected. And then the music, I don't know if you noticed this, but the music felt so loud when I was up there. Like when you're watching it, you don't even really notice that. But when you're up there, it just felt like there was all this noise and music and these 3 cameras like right on me, and they're big cameras. And I was like, wow, I'm like way more nervous than I expected to be because I like to be in front of people and talk and whatever. But that environment, I wasn't used to it. Once I was standing up there for long enough, I could notice that I calmed down. In the beginning, I'm laughing so much because I'm so nervous. And then halfway through, I'm kind of like a little more at ease.
More
but
chill.
It probably helped you because you looked pretty chill initially when you first like got out there.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I will say I was hella nervous.
Were you? Okay.
I am someone who I am pretty heavily in tune with my body. I'm pretty big into breath work, so things don't kind of hit me until I'm there on set, and I'm like, all right, now you're good, you got this, and I see the cameras and lights, and I'm like, oh man,
it's hard.
This is real.
They don't want you to look at yourself because there's big TVs that are showing what's going to be on the screen. And I wasn't trying to look at myself, but for like a half a second, I glanced and saw my face so big on this TV. It was such a close up, and I was like, whoa. But like in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, they're really close up on me. I'm glad like when I watch it later, I'm like, okay, the lighting's decent. Like it's not bad. They know what they're doing. But it was just, I think, yeah, if I did it a second time, I probably would feel a little more like confident. But yeah, when you're not, for me, I wasn't expecting that or that feeling or all those cameras. And my friend that I brought with me, she was my guest, but they ended up choosing her as well. They shot 2 episodes and they chose her for a different episode. And she's a teacher. She doesn't do any kind of performance, although I would say teaching is a little bit performing, but she was so cool and confident up there, like even more than me. And I was like, dang girl, what the heck? Why are you so chill? She was so good at it.
Love that.
But I don't know. She had a great time, which helped me have a great time. So we did have fun, but I wish I would have walked away with like $50,000 or something, but I didn't. So it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll get them next time.
It was a chance to be on TV. But anyway, so that was just kind of a funny like connection as we're following each other on Instagram. But yeah, mostly we just want to talk about your dance journey and what's going on. I know you have a lot. You kind of already mentioned a few things you've done and are doing, but talk about all the dance stuff you're doing right now.
Dance right now currently has always been more of just a hobby for me.
Okay.
I am someone that's always been a sports person. I played college softball. I played in 2 summers of international softball. Growing up, I've played just a bunch of other sports. I've been pretty blessed and talented to kind of, I wouldn't say be super great at every sport, but I was pretty coordinated to kind of know what I was doing for the most part. I mean, it was enough to give me a college softball scholarship.
Oh, nice.
Out of California. I went to a small D2 in West Virginia, so that was pretty cool. I got to get away. And growing up, I always wanted to be an actor, first of all. I've always wanted to act. Dancer was kind of just like the extra stuff. Honestly, I thought dancing was cool. I always wanted to be a acrobatic gymnast or cheerleader in a sense. But I don't want to say my parents didn't really approve of it, but my parents kind of wanted me to do a little bit more different sports. My parents also played like volleyball and baseball and softball, so they kind of pushed me in that area a little bit more. So when I was learning just how to dance, honestly, I would watch movies like Step Up, High School Musical, and just learn the dances on YouTube. So I kind of was more self-teaching myself in my room, and I wasn't like talented or anything like that.
Wow.
But I was okay. I would say that I was able to keep a beat. And by the time I was on tour within the years of 2020 and it was like 2023, no, 2021, 2023,
doing the COVID management
stuff. Yeah, I was actually in Baltimore and I ended up just wanted to do something a little different and ended up seeing some heels classes. And I was like, you know what? Why not? I said, I'm down for some female empowerment stuff. Let's do it. So I did it and fell in love with it. And after that, I ended up kind of dabbling into more jazz and hip hop. And that was in 2023. And then after that, I moved to Oklahoma. And I actually went to Oklahoma for education, first of all, and found the NBA and the Hype Squad.
What did you go there to study?
I actually didn't go for study. I actually developed a connection with a nonprofit organization that specializes in working with kids with disabilities.
Oh.
So I ended up doing a kind of like a little event where some of my castmates from Hamilton did a collab with some of the students there. We went down to the school and just honestly spent like an hour there and just kind of showed them a little bit from the dance and just hung around with the kiddos.
Wait, where were you in Hamilton?
I wasn't performing. I was
when
the backstage stuff, so that was pretty cool.
Okay.
But my castmates, I just talked to a couple of them and seeing if this is something they would want to do, and they were like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And I was like, "Okay, awesome." So that was really cool. I really enjoyed seeing students of all supports and needs being able to just vibe out and have a great time with my castmates again. So that was really awesome. And then when I was back home in California, I just talked to the owner of the nonprofit because I always dreamed of owning a business, and she was a woman. Mm-hmm. She owned the business for, I think she was going on 30 years, and she owned a school. So I was like, okay, hey, can I just kind of like come mentor you for like a weekend? And while I was there, she offered me a job.
Oh.
And so I went out there and I was like, okay. I've always was someone who went places for the job. The job always kind of took me places. So went and
what was that job?
I was an adaptive physical education curriculum developer and teacher. So I worked on...
Because you had a school.
Yeah, basically. Okay. So I did a lot of the physical education developing and programs out there. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. And then, while I was out there, I ended up finding the Oklahoma City Ballet School. And they offered some community program classes like ballet, jazz. They they did have some heels classes and everything, so that was really fun. And then they would also have some themed nights. And then once I kind of dabbled in there for a couple months, found another dance company called Race, and then another dance company. So honestly, just got a lot of experience out there until I moved back. So I guess you could say I got my training out in Oklahoma City as well.
So that's interesting. So even though you liked dance when you were younger, it was more about acting, and you didn't really start taking classes till like 2023 as far as dance classes.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's interesting. But then how did Oklahoma City Thunder start?
So
weren't you still out there?
Yes, I was still out there, and I'm going to be honest, I am someone that kind of goes off of delusions. I'm a very delusional person.
Love that.
And since I was like, you know what, if I'm someone who eventually knows that my better self, the actor version of me or the dancer version of me in LA is already going to go through a million auditions. So Oklahoma City was having their Thunder Girl auditions.
Oh.
And I was like,
why not?
Why the heck not? Was I going to make it? No. But I did it, and I was so proud of myself because I have never done, that was my first ever audition. And
wow.
First ever dance audition. I've done like modeling auditions and stuff like that. And
did you do
acting auditions?
Okay.
Yes. But I've never done a dance audition. So that was my first ever audition, and I was so scared. But because I did know the coordinator, manager, and some of the coaches, I want to say it made it less scary, but I'm going to be honest, when I know the people in charge,
sometimes it's more scary.
Scary.
But wait, how did you know them already?
Because some of them, actually, I'm going to be honest, Oklahoma City is one of the cities that's very small, where they always say you are one person away from the person that you really want to meet.
Okay.
So, yeah, honestly, some of the coaches still trained at some of the dance companies and everything, and some of them choreographed there and would do like master classes there.
Oh, cool.
So it was pretty cool. We were able to run into them and bump into them, and I'm always someone who, after a class or audition, I will walk over to the choreographer or whoever is there at the panel, and we'll shake their hand and say, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I learned a lot, and I hope you have a great day.
Yeah.
Just always make a good first impression, because you never really know when you're going to run into that person again. So,
yeah, that's such a good way to live. Hello, everyone. I wanted to remind you quickly that if you haven't bought my book, The Tracy in LA Newsletters 2010, please get it. It's on Amazon. You can get the paperback version, or you can get the Kindle version. It is a compilation of a bunch of actual letters I wrote and sent in the actual mail back in 2010 when I was first living in LA pursuing acting. A bunch of my friends who didn't live in LA thought it was so interesting that I was pursuing acting and wanted to hear more about it. So I basically just am super vulnerable. I talk about all the things I was going through, the doubts I was having, the struggles I was having, finding agents, getting auditions, making friends, visiting different churches, like totally just pour myself out in these letters. And I didn't really necessarily think I would ever publish them, but I went back all these years later and decided to edit them, change some names, and make it in a way where I could actually publish it and release it to the public. So that's what this is. I'm working on the 2011 letters right now. I have quite a few years that I did this, and people really liked it when I did it initially. And now I've gotten some good feedback on the book as well, even from people that like never read it initially or didn't know me back then. It sort of feels like a period piece now because it's like from 2010. So some of the language I use is just different. And, you know, I talk about burned CDs and things like that. So anyway, I think it's kind of fun, and hopefully you could relate because most of you probably are in LA doing similar things. So I hope you can get it and enjoy it. And if you like it, please leave a review on Amazon, and yeah, let me know what you think, and thank you for your support. Can you describe what the audition was like?
Yeah, so the audition was after we warmed up. It was about like 3 hours long, but we warmed up and did just one lengthy choreography from the coordinator. She just had when I want to say like it was one, not like one big practice, honestly. I mean, an audition, honestly, in my mind, if you don't make it, I think it's kind of like you got to practice out of it. So
Yeah.
after the warm up, honestly, she was like, all right, you guys ready to learn the choreography? So we learned the choreography, and oh yeah, it was hip hop choreography. Oh, because it was I'm sorry, it wasn't the Thunder Girls that I tried it for. It was for the Oklahoma City hip hop crew.
Okay.
So they're called O City. But yeah, the song was to, I want to say, either Gas Pedal or Red Nose. So you can only imagine the hip hop, a lot of steps. But it was about a minute long of choreography.
Wow.
And we learned, I think, that we jammed it in about 2 hours, and it did not stick. For me, it did not stick, mind you. But it was a pretty cool experience too, to just be in the room with so many talented people, to see them stick it, and just so many young talented people too. I mean, there was like, I say kids, I mean they're technically kids, but like 18-year-olds, there's like 16-year-olds trying out. Wow. And then there's like me, I was like what, 28, but yeah, there's like 21 young kiddos, people in college, and I'm like, you guys are killing it out here. Like, you guys deserve to be on this squad. But yeah, just did that jammed that choreography for about 2 hours, and then after that, she was like, all right, guys, get some water. Moved us all off to the side, and we all had our numbers. And yeah, they would call off about 10 of us and put us in like our mirrors. Yeah. Because there's no way they're not there. You're not getting out of that. They're looking at everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, they would just go 10 by 10 by 10. And I mean, there's maybe about 50 people at this audition. So it didn't take super duper long. And then they would call back a couple people. I didn't make it past the first round, but it was, again, just a crazy experience to have even been in the room. And honestly, just for myself to be like, yeah, we're going to do this. And we did it. So checked off the audition.
Nice. Okay, but then how did that lead to?
From there, I ended up meeting, just again saying thank you to the coaches. And before I walked away, they were like, hey, you have great energy. You should try out for our hype squad. And I was like, oh, you guys have a hype squad? Like, tell me more. So it was called the Storm Chasers. Shout out my Storm Chasers. And yeah, so they're like, yeah, we have auditions. And it was August. I think it was July at the time. So I was like, you know what? Why not?
Did they explain to you? Did you know what the Hype Squad was? Did they explain to you what it was?
They did explain to me what it was. And then there was also even some of the, we call them, I mean, the veterans, the people from the team. So I hooked up with a couple of them, and they introduced me to them. But basically, they're like, yeah, we're the Hype Squad. We do some of the like the activations on the court. We don't really necessarily dance, but we do a lot of the fan interaction, hype up the fans. If you want to dance, if that's your thing, you totally can. It was a lot of more,
like improv,
I don't want to say like improv. I guess improv. I don't want to say like freedom, but yeah, as long as you were, whatever your gimmick was to get people excited to be there, you did it. Like if acting was your thing, if being loud was your thing, if music comes on and you're hitting an 8 count and you're jamming with somebody and you getting them moving and grooving, if you're going high-fiving people, honestly, whatever it got people excited to be there was the jam. They just wanted to see you interact with fans.
So did you have an audition for that?
There was an
audition.
And
what did you have to do at that audition?
At that one, I don't want to say it was similar with O City, but we did have like a similar like check-in where we checked in their names and then got a number and everything. And then we did a relay race. That was the first one. And then after that, we divided into, I want to say, like groups of 4 and 5 and did some type of improv skit. I can't remember if we had props or not, because that was something very similar we did for the audition here for the Clippers. But we did a skit and basically just had to show that we could get the crowd pumping. I mean, it was like the panel, so it was like the people that worked there and some of the higher ups, and just showed that we were able to collab with each other and have good vibes. And then after that, I can't remember what the last thing was, but I want to say that was about it. Oh no, we had a Soul Train line after that. That was about it. They just put on some music and we just had a Soul Train line. Went 2 down the line, and if you were able to just like, again, just either vibe. They didn't want to really see you being a dancer. They wanted to see more, again, fan interactions, like going down the line. Can you, again, get someone to jam with you? Are you giving high fives? Are you interacting with your partner? Or is it just all about you type thing? So, again, you have to, when you do some of these auditions, kind of think about what they're asking for.
Yeah.
And when... I think it's more of like a hype squad for the NBA. They definitely are thinking more fan interaction.
Right.
So think more community.
And did you get booked on that pretty fast? Were they like, you're in?
Yeah, absolutely. So they did let us know. Well, the way they let us know in Oklahoma was we actually found out through Instagram, which was pretty cool because, I forgot to mention, because when we did the audition, we all tried on like the shirt and we took like pictures in it, and that was basically how they were going to use to announce us and everything. So when on their own entertainer's Instagram, that's how you would find out. And when they said it was going to be the date and the time, I ended up going on Instagram to check, and I didn't even end up playing the Instagram because I was the header, and I was like, I made it. So that was pretty cool.
That's awesome
to have done that. I was pretty excited. I actually FaceTimed my mom to watch me. To watch it with me on my computer because I didn't want to watch it by myself and be disappointed. But no, it was pretty cool. So that was awesome. And then...
And you've been doing that for... Are you still with them now?
With the Thunder, no.
Okay,
so
they're out here.
Yeah, because...
Did you do it for one season or how
just
long?
one season. And I was very blessed to have done it during their championship season.
Yeah,
because,
I saw that. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That was like the perfect season. And then after that, were you like, okay, I'm ready to go back to California?
Absolutely, because we also... shout out to Thunder because they also gave us rings as well, the entertainers.
That's cool.
That was really cool. So at that point, I told myself, I don't really know what else Oklahoma has left for me. I love being out there. It was beautiful out there. But I think it was time for me to come home for a little bit.
You felt like you got the experience you wanted with that job as well as... with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then did you have a job lined up out here already, or were you just like, I'm just going to go back to where I'm from and then figure it out?
I literally was like, I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants and try to figure it out. I was doing, at the time, I'm also a coloring book author, so I do have that on the side where I develop coloring books and sell them through Barnes & Noble's Press and Amazon. If you guys want to check that out.
Yeah. Wait, tell them what it's called.
The bookstore is what I call it, is Big Dream Chasers Bookstore. So if you were to type that up on bigdreamchasersbookstore.com, I developed while I was my time in Oklahoma, just some coloring books that specialize in students of all shapes and sizes, glasses, braces, all different types of hairstyles, hair colors, skin colors, playing sports, because I'm an educator that specializes in students with supportive needs in physical education environments. So during COVID, I saw just a lot of teachers making coloring books, but it was a lot more, just a lot of more niche-y things to kind of like just make more, how would you say, more financial means on the side and stuff. So it was something that I wanted to do on my bucket list. And
specifically coloring books or just book in general?
I wanted to do a book. It is also on my list to do a book as well, but I was like, let's start off with a coloring book because it'll be... I don't know, like a little, like a little guinea pig.
Yeah. Do you draw? Did you make like all the pictures?
I did. So when I was a kid, I wanted to be an artist so bad. I wanted to be a kid that just wanted to do everything. But I used to paint, I used to draw, I used to sketch, I used to do all that stuff. I was a big doodler, so I would doodle just a lot of cute little, like just little pictures of people. Like I'm not really good at like faces and stuff, but just little doodles of people. And then it'd be like, oh, a little person shooting a basketball or a little person like holding a bat. And eventually just kind of turned into, I was like, oh, let me see if I can try to make someone in a wheelchair or someone in like crutches, like playing with their friends. Basically, like some of the students that I would work with in some of the environments that I would try to work with them in. Like if it was, I don't know, we would play tennis, like they would. Instead of a racket, we would have a pool noodle, and instead of a tennis ball, we'd have a balloon. So it's kind of like little environments like that, and just really draw those small images in my head.
Yeah.
So once I had small sketches like that, I would kind of transfer them onto my iPad or my computer. And nowadays we have like Canvas and Procreate and nowadays. But just from those sketches, I was able to create finer lines and make it look more like a coloring book sketch. But for the most part, I did draw everything myself.
That's so
that was pretty cool.
I love you have just like such a variety of interests. So I want to bring it back to, because we only have about 10 minutes. So I want to bring it back to how, now did you just, because now you're working with the LA Clippers, doing the same type of thing?
Yes.
And did you just find an audition or did you have a connection through being with Oklahoma City?
I did not have a connection. I do know that most NBA squads have either a dance squad or a hype squad.
Yeah.
So if you're someone that is interested in that, I will say definitely check out like the team's Instagram because they do make announcements, or if they have an entertainment Instagram, they do have the listing on there, or check the websites because a lot of the times during the summer is when the turnaround season is. But I didn't have a specific connection. So
you just went to the audition.
I just went to the audition. No, I went to the Spirit audition. Actually, they had a mock audition during the summertime, and they actually posted that on their Instagram as well. And again, me being delusional, I said, "Why not?"
But why delusional? You already did it.
I mean, I already did it. Yeah, so I was like, "All right, might as well." The worst thing that they can tell me is no, and I get a workout out of it, and I get a lesson out of it.
Yeah.
So. Went and made some friends, and it was a good experience because when I went, I ended up again meeting the manager for the Spirit and also meeting some of the girls as well. And they told me about the Chuck's Crew audition, so I found that and was able to go ahead and go to that audition. Cool. So that was pretty cool.
So now you're currently with them.
Now I'm currently with Chuck's Crew. Shout out Chuck's Crew.
Nice.
That has been a pretty good experience for the most part. But yes, that is where I'm at currently.
And are you doing any other jobs right now with that?
Any jobs? During the daytime, I am a virtual high school dance teacher.
Oh, a virtual high school dance teacher.
Yes. LA has, with the many things that LAUSD offers, they offer a couple of virtual like charter schools.
Okay.
And I work with the school now that they have like their dance courses, and I am their virtual dance teacher.
That's awesome. I mean, that's really cool. I think that's inspiring that I shouldn't say like only been training for a few years because I mean, you train all the time. I know you're taking class all the time, but especially out in LA, a lot of people have been training since they were like 3 years old. And to be able to get a dance teacher job when you started training a few years ago, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I will say I'm pretty blessed. The job, I will say, it did, in a sense, find me. I did have a friend who, a friend of a friend who was also a teacher and is a part of the school that I worked at. But because I do have my master's in physical education and my single subject credential,
that's good.
They were saying that, I mean, in California, PE and dance are like how would you say, like,
it's like a PE credit.
A PE credit in the same sense. So with the training that I was doing, they both had a PE and a dance job, and I applied for both. But part of me was like, it would be cool to actually get the dance job because
You had grown to love it.
I've grown to love it. And also, too, I've had so much training because for a while, I didn't want to, I mean, being a teacher, it again found me. I wanted to actually be an athletic trainer. So I learned to know so much anatomy and so much about the body. So I know how to train. I know what it's like to have a passion for something, to have confidence. I might not be the best dancer in the world. I might not have, like you said, trained since I was a kid, but I am learning and learning to teach these kiddos the basics, really. I mean, and honestly, they always say being a teacher, you learn from your kiddos. So I will say I am pretty blessed and thankful with that because I get to not only just teach, I also get to learn with these kiddos at the same time.
I literally just
cool.
took ballet with a girl, and we were doing across the floor stuff, and I watched her do really clean, really good chaîné turns, and I told her that, and she said to me, oh yeah, it's because I'm teaching my kids, her little kids, these. She's like, I'm teaching these so much right now, and I have to keep showing them, so I have to do it like extra perfect, so I have to practice them all the time so that they can like do it better. And she's like, and then mine just got better. I'm like, wow, I can. They really stood out, and it's so funny that she's like, that's what I've been teaching recently. Absolutely. And I totally agree. Even like, I've taught dance a handful of times, just pop-ups here and there, but even when I did that, whatever I had in my combo or whatever I was planning to teach, all of a sudden it was a lot better. So I'm like, oh wait, I'm like really motivated to work on this every day and make sure that I look good.
Absolutely.
I know what I'm doing.
I do say too, because I mean, I'm not going out there teaching the kids combinations and stuff like that. We're out doing the basics. And for as long as I have been, I mean, not like super long, but for as long as I have been dancing, basics is kind of all I've been jamming. And honestly, basics isn't everything. If you go to some of these dance classes that only jam choreo nowadays, a lot of the basics like are aligned. And I've recently just like kind of fallen into that part where I've learned like dance is a language. And if you figure out like specific turns, like chaîné turn, you know what a chaîné turn is, you know what like a pas de bourrée is, you know what like all this good, all of it. So luckily with where I'm at now, it is finally starting to click. And I'm starting to finally like get into those like intermediate advanced classes.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, you're definitely not just doing basics. I've definitely seen you at, and I mean, I'm struggling in those classes, but I've definitely seen, I feel like we're both like, okay, we're going to go for it. And you are good. And I've seen you do really well in some of these classes. So, I mean, I think you're growing very fast. And I think it's also probably just because you're very focused and you're taking so many classes. But I'm curious. I know we only have a few minutes left. I'm curious about a couple things. One, do you just love training in dance and you're just like, okay, I'm a dance teacher, I'm training in dance, and we'll just see where it all takes me? Or do you have a specific, I know you said dance was kind of a hobby, but now it is kind of your job too. So do you have a specific goal with dance? And then also, I know we don't have a ton of time, but you never really said anything about acting. Did you ever end up like pursuing acting at all?
So
I'm sure it's a long story, but like maybe we can just have a summary of it or something.
No. I'll go off of the fact that you said that dance is like my job now is kind of crazy because I never thought that would be whatever you think. My goal with dance, I'm going to be honest, I am manifesting. I will say that it will happen because it will happen eventually. To even be, I don't want to say like the star cast, but it would be pretty cool to be in the cast, but to be a part of a dance film, like I don't know if Step Up were to have another movie or like Bring It On.
Like
honestly, that. Just like being like the background and be one of those dance actors, absolutely sign me up. Honestly, even being part of like maybe Disney, that would be pretty cool. But I know Disney, they like those triple threats where you're also like a vocalist. I've even thought about getting like a vocal coach. Nice. So that might be in my future as well. But honestly, the goal was always to just get paid for what I love to do. Yeah. And I mean, that's what I'm doing with the Clippers. And I'm grateful for that. And the universe decides to bless me with more. I'm going to accept it with open arms. Acting, on the other hand, I am currently still taking classes. I am honestly just so busy at the point where eventually I'm going to get back into like these casting websites, and hopefully during the summer, because of me being a teacher during the summertime, I'll have a little bit more freedom.
True, yeah, okay.
But eventually I would love to get more into like more commercials or again just like maybe some more extra stuff. But honestly, I'm excited for it, but part of me does not want to have to go back to the audition part. I
Really?
love being able to report to somewhere and know like I'm getting paid for it. So
the lifestyle
again,
of
yeah.
auditions and trying to book things is a lot of waiting around, and especially, I mean, I pursued acting a long time ago, but I did it when it was more in person. Now everything's like make a self-tape, and to be honest, even though I do a lot with video, for some reason I used to enjoy going into the room and auditioning, even though there was a nerve, like there was an adrenaline rush, but I sort of liked it to see the people and like how you learned how to do it back then. And now I'm like, I wouldn't want to have to like find a nice place in my house and figure out how to get the sound right. And like, I mean, I'm not pursuing acting right now directly, but it just doesn't sound fun to have to do all of that extra work and editing to just like do an audition. And then also, then you're like doing all this work and you're not actually getting paid for that. You're only getting paid if you book it, and it's very rare that you book it. So anyway, I totally get what you're saying, and I know we have to kind of wrap up, but it's cool. It's so cool to hear that you are doing stuff that you love to do, teaching dance and getting to be on this hype squad. And what is it called again?
It's called Chuck's Crew.
Chuck's Crew. That's cool. I'm going to have to look more into that. But I think that's awesome. And I love that you're continuing to train and continuing to see like what opens up for you. And it seems like things are finding you because it's already been happening. So
yeah, thank you so much, Miss Tracy. And it's been a pleasure. And I can't wait to, keep dancing with you.
Yeah. And make sure you follow, what's your Instagram handle?
Julianna Bravo Official. So JuliannaBravo Official. So you can find me on Instagram.
Yeah, I know you post a lot. So if you want to learn more about her journey and see where it goes, which I know I do, follow her on there. I'll put a link as well. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye. Bye.